1, 2.
Like all good things, the idea for this song was birthed in a Chick-fil-A drive-thru line.
Hello, welcome to Chic-fil-A. My name is Sean. What can I get for you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm Josh Hour.
I'm Jared Atherton.
And we are Chapters. This was one of those demos that kind of lived in Dropbox for a while, and it was called Change? No, what was it called? Closer. It was called Closer. And I had no ideas for it.
I did. I had a vocal for it.
Did you?
That I'm glad I never sent you.
What if it was so much better, though?
Yeah. So I had a full demo of this. Almost the whole song, bridge and everything, because I had alternate progression for the bridge and the whole deal. But when I sent it to you, I left all melody out. And I had sections mapped out that I thought were pretty clear. Started with verse, there was a break, then another verse, and then a break, and then a chorus. And you just sang right through all those sections, and we had all these.
I just bulldozered over everything, didn't I?
I loved it. I loved it. That's one of the great things about collaborating with somebody else is when somebody just totally reimagines the same thing. I never would have gone to the places that you went with the melodies and the sections and the drops and everything.
I remember it was kind of a rough day with the kids, and I just needed to get out of the house for a second, and I went and grabbed dinner for us. And sometimes I'll just drive in absolute silence because you're just trying to, But I ended up putting on some of the demos that were up there, and this one came on right when I got to Chick-fil-A, and I sat there and I listened to it and just started singing along with it right away. And as soon as the lyric came to me, where you hold it all together, I was like, oh, okay, I could build something off of that. And once that came, the rest of it kind of just fell into place.
I love delicate sounding strings that are imperfect and sound like a voice when you're pushing as little air as possible to try to make a real high sound. That's kind of what it sounds like these strings are doing. So brittle, so delicate, and the chords are simple. But your vocal, I never told you that, but the vocal that you ended up sending, even in that first demo, totally matched that completely. The lyric, the melody, and the performance matched what I was trying to do. I couldn't believe it.
I didn't really have a choice. You can't really go screaming off on the top of that.
It's true.
The first time I heard this section, it felt like rolling waves to me. And sometimes when I hear something, there's just an image that pops in my head, and it is now forever burned in my head as these rolling waves. And I was picturing like a shipwreck, really.
Yeah.
Looking back at the last year of our lives and just being thrown into this thing that you didn't ask for, you don't want it, but you're thrown into it and you go, okay, now what do we do? So in many ways, the lyrics are a prayer. Prayer in the midst of uncertainty, in the midst of fear, in the midst of hope or doubt. All of these being real emotions that you face when you're watching your daughter fight for her life,
Yeah.
And I remember working on the lyrics thinking, I'm so thankful I didn't have to do this alone. But there's this picture I took of my wife. It's one of my favorite pictures of her. But it's not what you would think when you think of, your favorite picture of your wife. Doesn't have any makeup on. She's not dressed fancy. She's not even smiling. She's standing right outside of our daughter's ICU room, leaning up against the wall, their head down, and she's not stressed out. She's not pacing the halls. She's just standing there, praying, like an anchor in an ocean. And that is so special to me. So this picture alongside the idea of a shipwreck and the sound of these big rolling waves, it all just fit together nicely.
Maybe my favorite thing that we've ever done. I thought that was an instrumental break going into the chorus. And when I heard it, you know, simultaneously, I'm getting like teary-eyed and I'm getting like all energetic at the same time because it's so good. But there's just so much emotion there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave you another one of those series of texts.
Yeah, I think I got a real big text on that one.
Tons.
Just
tons of caps lock.
And then some GIFs of just people.
Of Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Or someone.
Exactly. Something.
Ventura.
We knew we were on to something special.
There was a bunch of stuff in here that was an absolute nightmare to mix.
Yeah. You wouldn't know it listening to it, right. how simple that sounds. There are so many layers to that chorus.
Yeah. I call that the sonar.
Uh-huh.
I also think of it like a hospital sound.
Sure.
But I knew there needed to be a backbeat of some kind, and I just couldn't shake the idea of it being that pitched kind of a thing. Yeah, that low end was a nightmare to tame.
I don't know if you know this, but I actually went in and retracked all the low end.
Totally. And I think when we were sitting together mixing,
Confessions
I
of
heard
Chapters.
that and was like, well, what's that sound? And
nothing.
How dare you?
And you know what? We at the very end we brought in the kick drum from Shadows.
That's right.
And it worked really well.
Because we just couldn't make the stuff work that I was working with.
I like the reverse stuff. It's so subtle, but it just makes it feel digital.
Yeah.
This is one of those songs too where we kept adding little things.
Mm-hmm.
So on that down section after the first chorus, it was just instrumental for a while. But right before mixing, it might have even been during the mixing, I threw in some vocals to just give it a little throwback into that chorus.
And I had tracked a few vocal improv things and chopped them and pitched them down an octave, up an octave. And so we had a couple of those little samples going here or there, but that brought it all together.
Teamwork.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's talk about the piano on this one. It was originally all programmed, and then we decided to, you came in here.
We came in to mix. We didn't like it. We said, let's mic up the piano.
So we mic'd up the piano, and you retracked all of, like, the entire song, and we realized how noisy that piano was. We had to edit it a lot. The piano was just a little bit flat. Like the whole piano is just a little tiny bit out of tune. Mm-hmm. So I actually had to pitch the whole thing up just a little bit and just go a few cents at a time until it felt really good up against the program piano.
Yeah.
And what you're hearing is actually a combination of the program piano and the new one. But it feels awesome.
Yeah, it's just what it needed. I had programmed the drums pretty much beat for beat how I wanted them. You went in and played this. That's why it's so terrible. Gosh, should have kept the programmed ones. No,
probably should have.
This was infinitely better, and that worked. But it was very much Coldplay, Snow Patrol kind of a vibe. There's no denying that our time has come. Shown to unfold stories untold.
This is what makes Chapters work. I didn't really play anything on this song. Like, this is all you. And you look at a song like Stay With Me, and it's
mostly yours. Yeah.
This section was so hard to sing.
That is my favorite part of the song. In that stem, there's a ton of things happening. So I have this Moog lead line on the right.
I'm sorry, what was
and
that?
then I've got harp, celeste, and a mandolin being strummed at random, and then a brushed piano.
Feels very Italian. What are those little boats called?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
gondolas. Yeah,
I feel
gondolas.
I feel like I'm in Italy on a gondola. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, gondola.
This is just what I'm picturing. I'm going to cut all of this out, by the way.
So
Programs. These don't need to be real.
No.
They're really just backing up vocal melodies and guitar lines.
yeah, I have no apologies about programming strings underneath the guitars and vocals. And all
Yeah.
that. And that's
And
exactly
once
what's
the
going on
vocals
here.
are done, a lot of times I'll hear you throw in a string line to
Yeah.
just make it thicker. Like that's all vocals, right? Vocals and strings?
Yeah, the strings are just on the vocal line.
There's a lot of vocals in there. I don't think people realize how long it takes to do that. At least for
vocals?
me. Yeah. Well, because it's you're writing as you're doing it. So a lot of times I will track a bunch of stuff and really focus on the timing and the pitch and then double it and then triple it and quadruple it. And it's like I've got this wall of me, which sounds very dumb. But and then you listen back and you go, well, actually, I want the melody to be this. It's like, okay, well, now you have to
go through
re-record 4 times.
All of that over again. Yeah.
And it can be very time consuming. That whole section, the bridge through the outro, probably changed 2 or 3 times throughout writing the song. And I mean, hours and hours and hours of work. But I mean, it's all worth it. You sit back at the very end of the day and you go, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Definitely worth it, but it takes a lot of work.
Fast forward thinking, would you rewind and let us in? I'll be ready when the pieces fall tonight. If they fall again, look around here, slow down. We miss a page if we run about. I'll be ready when the pieces fall tonight. They fall again. It's an honor to wait here, thrown out in the wreckage. Didn't want this in my circling and shown to unfold, stories untold. There's not a night when our time is gone. See you in a promised land, made too close.
Thanks for listening. We have a lot more of these episodes coming soon, so make sure to hit subscribe and follow. You can always find the latest information on the podcast and all of our new releases at wearechapters.com.
There you go.
Thank you.
And you're all set.
Thank you.
All right.